Hi, this is Dominique Hayes, and I am here to present today on Bernstein's Principles of Degree of Freedom and Freezing. And what we're going to be doing is actually using bull riding training techniques to help explain one with the typical responses in stage 1, then during training for stage 2 how we correct that, and then stage 3 actually leveraging the appropriate position so that you actually can do very well on your rides. So, the first issue that we have is there are two main actions that the bull will do. It will rear and it will buck. So, what the riders call those two positions when they're preparing for it is position 1 for a rearing bull and a position 2 for a bucking bull, which my husband Andrew is nicely displaying. When we look at a novice bull rider, I'll have Andrew get into the position of a stage 1 novice bull rider where he'll be in position 1 and he'll actually freeze kind of the wrong muscles and joints out of just reflex. So we'll have Andrew go into that inappropriate position, and what we see is that the rider has a tendency to come forward, tightening the anterior abdominal muscles. They will also tighten the arm and pull themselves into the bull, and then they'll also have a tendency to tighten the hip psoas muscles as well as the iliopsoas. What this does is it brings the center of gravity forward rather, and it will actually pitch the rider ahead. Typically, the next response by the bull, though, is to buck. The rider is in an inappropriate position at that time to assume a corrective position and will be thrown off. If they've survived the first part of it, their actual primal stage 1 response to a bull bucking is actually another type of C position or C form that the riders call it. I'm going to demonstrate that for the bucking. Yes. And so, again, what happens is the hind end of the bull behind the rider will come forward, and because, again, of the tight hip psoas and iliopsoas muscles, you'll see that the rider is again in a forward position, and this will cause the rider to actually become unseated. So if we look at training bull riders, what we have to do is bring awareness to this kind of primal response that they have of locking up the wrong muscles, so to speak, or freezing them in this primal position, and actually get them into an appropriate position. So for stage 2, we'll look at when the bull is rearing, and now we'll have the rider assume the appropriate seat 1 position. And as you can see, now the back musculature is tightened, the core muscles posteriorly are tightened, the arm on the right side that is latched in is actually slightly abducted, and the elbow is slightly flexed at approximately a 50-degree angle. The other arm, which is a little bit harder to see, so I will bring the camera around, is kept in an abducted position, nearly 45 degrees to 90 degrees from the body, as well as the elbow is up. This affords the ability for that joint to be positioned either frontwards or backwards to help maintain the balance of the rider. So, when the bull is rearing, this would be your ideal position to be in. Now, when the bull is bucking, the rider will position himself into position 2, or seat 2. Again, you can see that the posterior muscles are remaining tight. So you have the longitudinal musculature flanking the spinal column. You have the anterior core muscles that are tight, but the pecs are open and the rhomboids are tight to balance out the shoulders. We also see that on the right side, the right forearm is tight, the wrist is locked. This helps stabilize the rider so that from left to right, he has his appropriate form for when the bull twists. When we look from behind, you can again see the shoulder abducted, as well as then the arm up in an extended position, elbow flexed at a 90-degree angle. This will help provide stability for when the bull is bucking. Now, how do we look at all of this when it comes together for actually using this to our advantage. This stage 3 of Bernstein's principles. With this, we're looking for the ability to maintain the balance when the bull is moving. So Andrew will then now show when the bull is in this rocking motion how we can actually leverage these joints to maintain stability by moving strictly at the hips. So position 1, position 2, position 1, position 2. We'll have him hold for a moment, and I'll come around to the front so that you can see the hip and arm action. Position 1, bull is rearing. Position 2, bull is bucking. This will then help stabilize the rider. If the rider's body was not in this position, then Andrew will demonstrate, if his core is soft and relaxed and he has not tightened, what that would look like when he goes to position 1. We're losing the leveraging ability. Now when he goes to position 2, same thing. What we'll see is actually a twist in the hips. When the bull then starts to buck and rear in twisting motion, adding a translational force, this will unseat the rider. So again, one more time, Andrew will go ahead and demonstrate position 1 in the appropriate form, and then position 2. If you notice, this helps then stabilize, and then the rider is actually able to use that inertia to help maintain her center of gravity on a very active and moving bull.